stress is unreal. Go on. Oh my God, it's like wrangling cats. Got it. Unconventional turnout. Go on, kids. Hut. Go on, girls. There's a fly in my brew. Yeah. I skipped breakfast. Good morning, children. Sorry, I didn't video any of that, like, at all from this morning. One of them had, like, she lambed the first one completely fine, and then she took ages lambing the second one, and I thought, oh, well, I don't really know what's going on. I'll go in and have a little bit of an inspection, and, like, its neck was sort of, like, twisted right round back on itself, and it couldn't come forward to get into the position to be able to lamb. So I lambed her. That was that fly. Oh my God. And then there was a couple more on, and then I realised that I had 100% run out of room. Now the weather's fared up, as you can see. It's not bad at all. It's slightly damp, but it's not bad at all. The snow's gone, so turnout it is. So that's what we've just done. Okay, so oh, I feel so like knackered today, honestly. That's how desperate we were. Well, that's how desperate I was this morning. That is, in fact, a sheep in a ring feeder. Thank you. Thank you. Ingenuity. There is also 2 lambs running around in there with the mums. Desperation really did hit. I didn't want to turn them out in the snow. Now, I know a lot of you are going to go, oh, God, you're just so soft. Scanning was really low, wasn't good. I don't know whether that was a combination of whether them having scab, which they did, just before I put the tups in, they did have scab and they were dipped. I don't know whether that was a factor. Apparently, scanning percentages are low everywhere. If yours were high, good for you, but as a general consensus, I think they were quite low this year. Lamb is precious, and I mean that. They are anyway, obviously, because I'm soft as butter, aren't I? But even more so this year because there isn't going to be as many of them. So I've waited for the weather to flare up. Ideally, they should have gone out yesterday, but I was far too busy. First job is disinfect this. So I've got disinfectant powder from Cars Billington. I'll show you it just because I'm not surrounded by sheep bearing at me. Wasn't actually that expensive compared to lime. Slightly more expensive, but not a right lot if I'm honest. This is it. It's really heavy. That's a really weird thing to say. It's a really heavy bag, and there's not a right lot in. Oh my God, they're causing havoc. I think I'll get another bag of that today as well because it's bloody good stuff. I was terrified of joint ill. That was my main concern with keeping them in for any lengthy period of time. But everyone seems to have fared all right. If I touch wood, like honestly touch wood, I think we're doing all right. Because as I've said before, I am quite new to this. I might go in and put some actual makeup on because I don't like looking... So pathetic. It's not for you lot. I don't like looking at myself in a camera when I'm looking really rough. It makes me feel terrible and it makes me feel sad. So I put makeup on to make myself feel good. Yes! So the Farming Forum thing is still waging war on Twitter and Farming Forum. I haven't looked at the thread personally. I don't think I want to. I don't think it would be good for me mentally to see what people are saying. So I'm going to just stay off it. My point, the point's been missed entirely by me, and it's been turned into something else, which is not actually what I wanted. It was more about like the platform being about bullying and negativity instead of like, do you remember like Mick Moore talking about slurry storage? And, you know, someone would say, oh, Mick, you know, I've got really thick slurry. What am I going to do? And or someone else would say, oh, you know, Mick took the top ring out of my slurry tower and we lowered a bobcat in. And it was really helpful. The man literally sat there at night replying to comments from random farmers struggling with slurry solutions. And I thought, sorry, I'll just put you there. I thought that was amazing, and I thought that's what Farming Forum was about. Farming Forum is not about that anymore. It really is not about that anymore. It is not what it was 10 years ago when I first moved here. Farming Forum is now about bitchy little men going on and bullying people, which is fine, like, but own it. Don't pretend that you're some kind of moral high ground, because you're not. You are the cesspit. With all the recent things in the press about like bullying and stuff and men intimidating like women at conferences and things, I thought that they would be more switched on and deal with it a little bit differently. Now, I did not intend, and I will say this very clearly, I am not a weak little woman. I did not intend for it to be about any sexist kind of thing, and I mean that, truly. It's turned into that, but that's not my doing. That's the fellas have turned it into that for some reason. It probably fits their narrative a bit better. Oy, that's not good. The fuck? Whoa, what? Ew. Oy. Ew, what the hell? What is going on there, kiddo? It's gross. You alive? Whoa, don't walk away.
But it didn't mean it didn't matter to me. Like taking steps.
So when I was tagging her lambs and tailing them, I noticed that one of them had a very meconium-y poo, which is brown. And milky poo is like yellowy kind of coloured. So I thought, it's not getting a lot of milk. Doesn't look empty, and they're thriving, they're jumping around. Anyway, I turned her upside down and she's got mastitis in one of her teats. So I was very careful then, did you hear it? I will treat her for that. She's obviously not going to be able to feed the lambs. They won't thrive, they won't do. But what I'll do is, I also have no milk there, and her two lambs I am feeding. So I'll just stick these lambs and their mums in a separate pen and bottle feed the lambs for now. So in the old days, when we first started, those yellow orange tags that Roy's just put in, they were the get another chance tags. And oh, she's on her last chance. No. We very quickly became quite hardened to it and realised, sadly, that the throwaway rate on sheep is a lot higher than cows. So anything with a problem now does get an orange tag and it ends up going. You just end up breeding problems, making yourself a lot of work, and it's just not worth it. So anything with one tit, not a lot of milk, it gets that tag. So yeah, as of this morning, we have a special pen. So I didn't want Ducko the chicken to think I was ungrateful. That's the only reason I haven't been wearing this hat, is because actually I can't see, because I think they're made for big heads, not children, tiny heads. It's relative to the amount of brain that's in there, to be fair. So let's talk about Livestock Eye. Now, I am in no way affiliated with Livestock Eye. I feel the need to say that just because I tell you about what we use. It doesn't mean I'm getting anything out of it. It's bloody brilliant. Honestly, I wouldn't be without it. Or any like CCTV system, like during lambing, calving, that kind of thing. We got it only last year, after lambing. And I would 110% not do without it now. It is amazing. So I am currently at Roy's dad's house mucking out, and we can very easily just log on and have a look at what's going on at home. Go on. Hup, 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 hup. Move your ass.
A journey separated from a life that we had made.
So I can log on and have a look at what's going on at home, and several times when we've been lambing, I have shot off and lambed the sheep and come back. He's still not speaking to me. So I'm just going to, wow, the noise is unreal.
The only thing that I just didn't want to do, 'cause love has all gone wrong. Did you expect to be the one who got away not being hurt? 'Cause love has all gone wrong. If it was meant for you and me, then I'm sure God would make it work. It's all wrong, 'cause you were mine.
So with the girls in here remaining on liquid snack, I'm going to take the troughs that I made outside and then start feeding hard feed to the girls outside that have just got out. The most impressive merlo feature so far is feeding over gates. This is a revelation to us. So the other day, I am aware I look like a proper squatter today. Forgive me. I'm not in the best frame of mind. I bought this the other day and it was the wrong size. This is, I think it's 25. I can't see now. But it was the wrong size anyway. We needed smaller. So I'm not going to take it back because, to be honest, it always comes in handy for something. And you end up on a Sunday with a burst pipe or something and you've not got any in. It's just not worth it. So I'll stick it on the loft with the rest of the stuff. Pipes and such like, drainage and things like that. It might come in handy, I hope. So I need to spread a load of muck. Now the muck spreader's full, accidentally. So we're just going to empty it on that field there. I am not a muck spreader, if I'm honest. Roy, bloody pigeons. Roy has always done the muck spreading since day one, day dot. I've never needed to join in. It's just one of them things I've just never had calls to do because he does it. So obviously the tractor's on the wrong thing. We've just tipped silage at Crackerthorpe. So I need to get it off this.
Strong and let out a sigh.
Oh, we're plugged in, man. Just because I never really show the boring stuff that I don't enjoy, so here you go.
It was nice to meet you. The pleasure was all mine.
Let's just hope it doesn't roll away. It once did down here, right into that field. No, it's not going to move, it's alright. So I don't want the lambs in that field there. I want them moved across into one over there. But as long as they're halfway round, I can have a go at moving them later. I won't take the dog, it's a bit much, isn't it, for new lambs? So Muckspreader's there, I'm here, Finger Wood's there, that's interesting. Don't think there's any way I can like put you that you can see. It's really annoying. I need like a thing on here. Stay there.
Where to be? I walked out on you. This is the way it had to be. Please, can you forgive me? Not for leaving you, but letting feelings go. No thoughts about you each and every other day made me think about the things that I don't already know. 'Cause love is all gone wrong. Did you expect to be the one who got...
So when it's winter and the majority of the work that this tractor does really is just ferrying stuff up and down the road, and the tanker and the muck spreader, Roy lifts these arms up right out of the way. They normally sit there and he lifts them up because otherwise you know what happened. And we've all bent a shaft before, so it's just easier to shift the arms out of the way. They're not actually being used for anything. To be fair, this is actually a new PTO because this has not a couple of months ago just been bent coming out of a gateway. We lent it to somebody and it came back bent, which was just typical. It's the way it is though, isn't it? So the pipe I put in, brown left, that was for, well, I can show you. It's so corny, but I'm all here for it. Oh, what the hell's that? What is that? It's a leaf. It's alright, it's a leaf. So after many, many years of watching muck spreading, this hat is not doing it for me, honestly. After many, many years of watching muck spreading, these are my pearls of wisdom for anybody wanting to do it. Don't listen to me because I don't have a clue. No, I'm joking. Everything's run on the hand controls. It's run on revs. Your speed of your tractor is run on revs. You don't want to be in too high a gear. You want to be in quite B1, which is really quite like, you know, and you want to change the revs throughout. You can't just keep it at a constant and go if in doubt flat out, because it just makes a bad job. You want to have them steady at first. You want to have them quite high to get it going, then you want to steady it down, and then towards the end when you're empty you want to increase them again. Yeah, it's just...
You were mine, so I'll be strong.
So, I'm coming up to a corner, so I'm gonna stop. Because you don't want to go around the corner. These are not wide angle PTOs. It's just not worth doing it. So, I'm coming up to the hedge. I've stopped. There is some serious tree fall in this field to pick up. And I'm about to be attacked by a tree. So this is a lot easier now, obviously, with electronic PTOs. Back in the day, you couldn't actually feather it in, it was all or nothing. So as you can see, time has actually gone on, and I am not in a straight line, but never mind. And I'm increasing the speed, increasing the revs. That's throwing the muck out a little bit further and a little bit finer. I'm literally travelling at like 15, I think, kilometres an hour, something like that. No less, even. Yeah, not a lot. It's just getting an even, thin application is what you're really looking for. If you are ploughing it in, however, you will be plastering it on, but we're not. It's a permanent pasture for sheep and cows. So hopefully this will feed the ground when it needs it, which is now, and then come spring when we turn the cattle onto it, it'll be nice and thick. So when this is empty, you will hear it, the chains obviously start to scratch on the sides because there's no muck left in to So we now have 4 pet lambs, well 5, but 4 that need feeding in pet lamb pen with the mums because they've got no milk. So it's about time I got one of the old dairy where Tom's bulk tank used to be, one of these Wiredale lamb feeders out. I've got new teats for them. We buy these off eBay, they're dirt cheap. They're grand actually. I think the original ones are a bit softer, but to be fair, the original ones are easily bitten off by little teeth. So I'll get one of these out, I'll give it a right good disinfect up, and then I'll take it over to Pet Lamb Pen. So this here is a prime example of being in the oven too long. This lamb has pooed, as you can see in here. That's the lamb poo, and it's made all this yellow, which is just the fluid inside the sac. So that's meconium, which is like the first poo. It just means it's not been getting out quick enough and the lamb's been in slight distress.
Can't you forgive me?